Okay, do you
Oh,
want?
Yeah, I guess. Gotta fix your hair first.
See this shit?
Fitment. My car.
So this is fitment we are achieving right now. So it's mint. So basically, let me take this. We swapped out the old 4-lug shit, which I'll go show you in a second, with this 5-lug shit. Ignore the missing lug nut, the stud is stripped. And we got the turbo 2 brakes, and back here we got 5-lug. So now we can fit the wheels that were on this car.
Poor baby.
So there is some concerning factors. One, look at this fitment. Look at this. Like that's great. I love it. I want to go a bit lower, but other than that, I love it. And if we come over here, what's going on? What's going on? So
His fitment whack.
this side sits in further. And obviously this car's been in a front end collision before, so we'll see if it aligns. If it aligns straight, you know, it'll be fine. But the car's definitely, there's too much toe in on this side, and you can tell 100% that there's toe out on this side. See how the front end of the wheel sticks out and the back end is sitting in, so it needs an alignment. Back here, it does sit in a bit further than the other side, and we do need a little bit of wheel spacers for the back, because that's not acceptable. We need flush fitment perfection. And I don't know if we went over this in the last video, but right here, see these guys? We got Max PP rods coilovers. They are the finest of eBay quality. What happened is we had someone who owns an FC. He's in high school. He ordered a set. He got 2. We got them for like under $100. So we were like, fuck it, the car needs to be lower. But the problem is this right here, this is as low as it fucking goes. So that's not acceptable. So what we're gonna do is this adjustment collar here, this guy is removable, and it is too long. Like the whole body doesn't go fully into it. So we're gonna take it and we're gonna chop it up. We're gonna cut a piece off of it and try to preserve the threads so the back of the car can go like another inch or 2 lower, and the front still has room to go lower. So if we can bring the whole car down like an inch, I would be happy. So let's pull the car inside, and then I'll show you guys once we have the wheels off. Also, I need to order a caliper because this caliper seized and that one was tight. So I'm just going to order both rear calipers and rear pads and rotors, and then we should be set there. Shorten the coilover, align it, and then we're going to get a new camera for you guys. I'm going to have an Insta360 back here, and once it starts snowing, we'll have this car sliding around in the snow for you guys. So that'll be really fun. But until then, I got my little fake GoPro, and we're going to set that up so you guys can at least have some ride-alongs in this car in video form. But yeah, I definitely... Putting new wheels on this car makes me love this rust bucket so much more. I mean, look how fucking shiny they are. I get that they're reps, but this car's $2,500 bucket of rust. So as long as it looks good and I can have fun in it, that's all that we ask of it. So we'll be right back inside where I can show you guys a little more detail what exactly we're doing. And I'm gonna use the GoPro so I can get a little bit of a time lapse of doing everything. So see you guys in a second. Don't do this. Like, so these are, sorry it's loud in here. These are eBay coilovers. We got Max PP rods. And right here, if you look, this cylinder can we can shorten this strut body quite a bit more. But looking inside, they made this like bottom piece thick as fuck. So we can only go down an inch, which is an inch lower. And that'll make me at least a little more happy. So let's get to chopping. This is only threaded so far, so it's probably a good thing we're only going down an inch, because if we went any further, we'd be dipping into sketchy territory if this is not there already. So I'm gonna be doing the same things on both sides. And then also while we're here, we're doing some maintenance. We're rebuilding these calipers because they were seized up. So, but first, the fun stuff. So let's see what we can do about this. Phone fell over. But man, look, we got a chunk off of it. This is such a bad idea. Don't do this. Yeah, the cut's not straight at all, but an attempt was made, and that's not the important part. Anyways, let me clean this up and then fucking get back to you. Anyways, yeah, there's the hunk of hot metal. Surgical. And just like that, I cleaned it up. I'm not gonna bother painting it because I don't care. This car's, they're eBay coils. Look, I skipped and the cut is uneven. But let's do some measurements and make sure that this is as low as it can get at this high point where I made the cut uneven. If not, I'll grind it down. And then we'll slip this back on. Still got plenty of threads, and we move on. So here's it uncut. I showed the other side already. The way I determined it is when you measure the length of this with the proper preload on the spring, it far exceeds, or it is far less than the depth of this. So when measuring from the bottom casing there to the top of the threads is 5 3/4 inches, and then this was only about 4 1/2. So I'm shortening both of these by an inch in order to fully bottom these out. And then on this side, it's stupid, but I fully removed one of the adjustment springs and I lowered the preload. So basically, instead of making these adjustable, they are just one height, and that is as low as they go. That achieves the lowest possible ride height without changing the springs, which I wasn't gonna spend money on springs on eBay coilovers. I would just buy a new set of coilovers, which is in the future, which is why I don't care about these. I also learned, if you look how the bumper mounts right here, and then we come over here, you see everything flexes outwards, which means that it was probably hit on the front and left, and it pushed everything out to the right, which causes this whack fitment. I tried to push in on this fender, but if you can see, pushing in, damaged up here. The whole fender bent in right here, and then put this bubble up here. So I'm gonna smooth this out with a little love. It chipped the paint, but you know, this car is not in perfect shape. So I'm gonna smooth this out, then get this on the alignment rack after I rebuild these calipers, which I'll show you in a second, and get the ride height dialed in and the alignment fixed. So I'll be right back. Don't do it like this. Cleaned it up over at the grinder, and back on she goes. So you just kind of gotta like finesse it. I loosened the upper bolts just so there's enough fucking help. Who does this with one hand? Yep. Just finesse it until it gets started. I guarantee this works. The cut is smooth. The threads are good. 1 second, I'll be. Bam, and just like that, with no struggle. What? Oh, I forgot to remove the brake. God damn it. Don't copy anything I'm doing, please. This is like not the right way to do it. And like my FD is getting everything nice and gonna have everything done properly, proper suspension, everything. But do you see this car? Do you see this thing? I mean, okay. Look at this. Look, wait. Look back here. See, that's the trunk in there. So this car gets slammed as much as I can and then driven as much as possible. This thing is a winter beater. It doesn't get nice shit. It's fucking, I have fun with this thing. And for me, this is kind of fun, just being able to chop suspension in half. Like, this is not the right way to do it, but if I can make the car look a little better, I'd be happier driving it around, so don't need that. So, got this apart a little bit. You can see there's some pitting on the cylinder and up around there after cleaning it up. And inside here, I got this seal out and I got this boot off, and then there was a washer at the bottom. I can't find any documentation on how the rest of this comes apart. I found it for the FD, but the design seems to be different even though the internals are the same. So I'm gonna stop here and just replace the seal and the boot and then reassemble everything, because right now I don't really have the time to replace that. And then I'm going to be cleaning out the inside of here and the inside of here with some emery cloth to clean everything up and make sure the slide pins are working good. And then at that point we would reassemble. I'm having issues with the e-brake doesn't want to release, but I just won't use it. Maybe it's not the right answer, but for now it's the answer I'm going with, because I don't know how this fully comes apart. Again, I can't find really anything on how the second gens come apart. A lot of info on the FDs, not a lot on the FCs. So these are the parts that came off. This is the washer I was talking about. Just the snap rings or a snap ring, and then just some stuff to clean up and reassemble. These go on top of the e-brake. It bolts down it's the spring and the bolt for it. I think it's just seized on there. Ideally, I would pop this off, clean everything up, lube it up, and then reassemble it, and it should work smoothly. But I know there's a bearing in here, and if that's failed, and then I take it apart, and I don't want to risk it getting worse or making a problem. But it kind of looks like that's one piece. It's hard to say. Well, I'm gonna try to find some more stuff and some more information on if I can find any documentation on how this all goes together or comes apart. Going together is just the opposite of it tearing apart, and then I'll be back. So this took much too long, but there we go. This side we opted to not rebuild the caliper just because of how the other side went. The piston was moving back and forth. We pumped it in and out a few times, cleaned up the slides because they were seized, tighten down the e-brake cable. I sprayed it with PB. I'm gonna, next few times it's up, I'm gonna spray it with PB, and I'm just not gonna use it for a bit until I try to free it up. Shorten these, and then thinking about it, I could have probably removed this color too and dropped this all the way to there and tightened it, because it wouldn't, this already has a little slack in it. So it would have gotten me just a little lower, but we'll see how it turns out. Worst case scenario, it's 3 bolts and then taking everything off. So I think I'll be happy once I get the front dialed in. New pads and rotors. Boop. I don't like. If you follow me, at the cost of paint, fender liner, and a hammer, we have achieved fitment. It only rubs a little bit, but it looks good. And that's the only thing that matters for this car, ever. Because before it looked like a grandma car, and it rode all nice and stuff, but now it rides like shit, and it doesn't look like a grandma car. So, come on, stupid wheel lock. These wheel locks suck. I blame you. But yes, so with our max PP rods, we were able to chop up the back and lower it to acceptable height. Oh my god. And then the front had enough adjustment where if I take you with me, we can see that the front had enough adjustment for a 1/2 inch from as low as it goes. We are at the height we want. shitty angles and shitty suspension geometry and shitty coilovers and a rusty ass car with holes through the floor. But that doesn't matter because it looks good. And as you can see, this side has much more room because the car, in our speculation, was in a front end collision, which made this side push in and that side push out, which is why this side has like so much tighter fitment than the other side. So it's good all the way until back here, which we might have to do a little massaging. But all the way up here, it clears. It rubs a bit when it's turning, but that'll be an issue for a later day. Because tomorrow we're going to align it, and then a later, probably maybe after work tomorrow or something, we'll be working out all the kinks. But this is the goal. This was the fitment, the vision that we had, or that I had. So I'm extremely happy. Are you happy with it? Awesome. So it's loud, but look at this. We got it low. We chipped some paint because we had to hammer the fender in because the cars aren't meant to be like this, but I think it looks way better low. All right, we're finally back home. I know this video was a little hectic because I was recording at work, and that can be a little challenging, but let's go over everything we did. So we did the 5-lug conversion, which involves the hubs and knuckles for front and rear, and the rear calipers were seized. So we freed up this caliper, and then we got new pads and rotors for the rear, and then we rebuilt the other side's caliper over here with new seals and everything. I didn't rebuild the e-brake portion, so the e-brake's still a little sticky, so I'm not using it. But up front, we removed the fender liners, and we did a little massaging of this fender line here to ensure that the wheel touched as little as possible. It still needs a little work to get it to be perfect, but it's all good. And then for the front, there was no modifications other than that required. We were able to lower it to this point, and it still could go lower, theoretically. So got it to this point, all on the suspension. The rear, however, one second, it might be a little loud back here. The rear, we had to do some modifications to the suspension because that collar there, that collar was too long, so we had to shorten that yellow piece. That yellow piece was too long, so we chopped a piece off of that to thread the coil further into the body to shorten the overall length of the strut, and we were able to do that. So we were able to come out with this fitment, which we need to roll the fender and get a little bit of a spacer to get the wheel flush with the fender, then it'll be perfect, and the front should match the rear, and we should all be fine and dandy there. But other than that, we didn't do anything else to the rear. So we did the 5-lug conversion, the brakes, shortened the strut, and we did an alignment, and we rolled the fenders. Essentially rolled the fenders, removing the liners and doing a bit of hammering. But this is where we're left off with the FC. And this car, we're kind of torn between places, but we're leaning more towards this motor's on its way out. The last compression test was very, very low. So we're leaning towards letting it run till it doesn't run anymore. And then we'll just hard it out and move on with the FD and try to like give that car the love it deserves. And then we'll get another FC in the future, because definitely I love this car. I wish it was a little faster. A Turbo 2 would definitely be a move in the future, and I want another RX8. I love these cars overall. They have so much soul to them, and I want to keep them alive. But this one, it's rusted out, the motor's dying. If I can part it out and everyone who needs the parts gets the parts, that would ensure that everyone who wants to keep these cars alive is getting what they need. It's the unfortunate truth is that some of these are going to have to get parted out if the cars want to stay alive, because if they don't, no one's going to have parts. So if you guys enjoyed this video, you guys can like, subscribe. You can see more, probably not much of this car, but of the FD. And the FD will be picking up here very shortly. I'm finding someone to tune it, and I'm getting the fitment dialed in, and I'm getting interior dialed in. But I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I'll see you guys next week in the next video. Bye-bye.